Here come the Democratic Socialists. They're coming. Reuters is reporting that the group Democratic Socialists of America have ended up seeing a huge surge in membership since the election of Donald Trump. Now, this membership, of course, is fueled by supporters of Senator Bernie Sanders, people who didn't realize that they were Democratic Socialists until they saw the platform of Bernie Sanders. And they're like, God, that guy makes a whole lot of sense. Wait, you mean there's an entire political philosophy that Bernie Sanders is based on, and that he identifies as a Democratic Socialist? Well, that must mean I'm a Democratic Socialist too. Fascinating. Now, again, Bernie Sanders identifies as a Democratic Socialist, and of course, there are a lot of Republicans, Claire McCaskill, by the way, who's going to get fucking primaried, I almost guarantee it, who came out and said, well, he's a socialist. He's a socialist. He can't get elected because he's a socialist. Wrong. Democratic Socialist. There's a difference. Now, again, he ran against Hillary Clinton in the Democratic primary. And by the way, when he was running, they would do polls where Hillary versus Trump, Bernie versus Trump. Now, I'm not saying anything except that, according to the polls, Bernie would have won. Bernie would have won. I'm not saying anything except for what I just said. Now, back to the Democratic Socialists of America. Now, they're not an actual political party. They're not like the Green Party. They're not like the Democratic Party. However, this group of like-minded individuals supports many of the same policy positions as the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, which of course makes sense. Things like a $15 minimum wage, single-payer health care, tuition-free higher education, and of course opposition to things like the TPP, NAFTA, and the brand new, equally horrible Trade in Services Agreement. Now, they also want to transform, ultimately, America into a place where workers have a direct say in how their jobs and economy are run. Places like Germany, places like Denmark, Finland, which happen to have better economies, by the way, and some of the happiest countries on earth. Just saying. Just saying. They also want to, of course, have a more robust public sector, as well as a private sector that is also robust. So, look, basically, what they're saying is, we're Democratic Socialists, and we want a social democracy. Now, people hear the word socialism, they instantly blank out or freak out. It doesn't mean government takes over. It just means that more unions, more people who are invested in the workplace. If your worker has a stake in the workplace, do you think they're going to do a better job at work, or do you think they're going to do a worse job at work? If what they take home, what they make is tied in to what the company makes, and the company shares its profits with its workers a little bit more equitably, you would think that if you're working at a place, you would want that place to succeed so that you would work harder, that you would do better. That's what social democracy is. Getting more people involved in the workplace and getting more regular people involved in government. That's the whole point. And I believe that right now, that is a superior system to our crony capitalist system. I mean, look, what we have here, we actually do have some socialism here. Unfortunately, it's a lot of socialism geared towards the rich. We have subsidies, for example, to very profitable corporations. You also have public money that goes to when a private company has, for example, an oil spill. You get an oil spill, private corporation, who do you think pays for it? We pay for it. The taxpayer pays for it. It's not the corporation that makes billions of dollars in profit when an oil pipeline spills. No, we pay for it. That is socialism for the rich. And the rest of us, especially now under the Trump administration, are going to have this rugged capitalism for the rest of us, socialism for the rich, capitalism for the rest of us. That's what's going on in this country. Obviously, the democratic socialism system that actually benefits workers and regular people seems to be a bit more superior. That is unless, of course, you're a multinational corporation, and then you're like, oh my God, I hate that system. Can't make everybody happy. But anyway, Reuters continues. Now, since November, national membership has almost tripled to about 17,000 people. Hey, 17,000 people, that's not a lot, but it's also not bad. Its leaders have said that meetings are packed and new chapters are popping up nationwide, including in Rust Belt states such as, Michigan, as well as Wisconsin and Ohio. So those are places where Trump had won. And yet you've got these Democratic Socialist chapters popping up. Doesn't seem like we're as red state, free market capitalists as you would think. Just saying. Now, I'm going to read you a quote here from... I'm reading you something here from Hans Noel, who's a political scientist at Georgetown University. Now, he said that while the Democratic Socialists of America's numbers still remain small, its growth reflects the trend of the Democratic Party's left wing gaining clout after Hillary Clinton's loss. Many analysts have said that her defeat was at least partly due to her inability to win over Sanders supporters. Sure. And look, let's be honest. There were some Sanders supporters, a lot of Sanders supporters actually, that bit the bullet and said, look, we're going to work our ass off for Hillary Clinton. We don't like her. We don't trust her. But she seems to be better than Donald Trump. And you can disagree with me on that. I'm just saying that that's their reasoning. Okay. Now, you know me. You know that I believe that Hillary Clinton lost because she was a terrible candidate. She didn't go to Wisconsin. She didn't talk to regular people. Nobody trusted her. There were too many questions around her. There was too much money involved. Too many issues with her foundation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot. Okay? There's a lot of things. And another thing is that she seems more interesting in winning than actually serving regular people. And of course, you know she would serve the corporations. Now, that is the same exact feeling that I had gotten from Donald Trump. I believe that they were both in it to serve themselves. Though I do think that Trump generally only thought of himself, and we can see that through his policies today. However, I do think that Hillary Clinton would have done some more better things, at least, than Donald Trump. Maybe some better, maybe some worse. We don't know. Trump has really only begun to do things. But anyway, on policy grounds, you can't argue that there wasn't a significant difference on some issues. For example, climate change. Trump doesn't believe in climate change. He just made it so that coal companies can dump their sludge into your rivers. I don't know if Hillary Clinton would have actually done that. Just saying. Sure, she was a proponent of fracking. We're against that, obviously. But I don't think she would have been like, you know what? Dump your coal ash in the river. She probably would have upheld Barack Obama's clean air and clean water rules. Not hugely forward, but again, with Trump, we've got about 12 steps back. But anyway, Noel said during the DSA, said of the DSA during this interview, they're doing more mobilization and organization within the party. All the candidates now feel that this is a wing of the party that they feel that they have to take seriously, and goddamn right. In fact, that kind of action, he says, is probably going to play out in internal party conflict over the next 3 years. And again, hell yes. See, the progressives are the ones who are going to knock. And if you don't answer, we'll knock your door down. Still, the DSA, while not a party, is obviously still trying to influence the Democratic Party. In fact, a spokesman said, we're not going to work with the Democratic Party or within the Democratic Party, but we're not going to work totally outside of it either. And for me, I don't think that's a bad approach at all. I think that's a perfect approach. You work inside the party, you work outside the party. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. And it makes sense. Now, for me, I support the Justice Democrats, who are trying to change the party from the inside. Now, if that doesn't work, at least we know that the DSA and the Greens and other different parties are actually working from the outside as well, and we can join that. I'm not opposed to going outside of the Democratic Party. So I think we should all have an open-minded approach on how to do this. And we should try multiple fronts. You change the Democratic Party, fantastic. If we don't, then we could find another way. There is no one way to get a progressive party. I'm just saying. Now, doing so seems to have gotten them a little bit of success. In fact, at the Michigan Democratic Convention, the local DSA chapter was actually successful in getting several members elected to the Michigan Democratic Party's State Central Committee. And now for the first time in 2 decades. And in January, Bernie Sanders supporters in California managed to elect a majority of delegates to that state party's leadership. So there have been victories. Now we can sit here and we can look at Congress and we can feel hopeless, right? But really, there is actually a lot of hope at the state level for small parties, for independent parties, for the Green Party, for the progressives. You can look at the state and local levels and you can actually still win there. And I think that's a smart strategy. You actually have to build a real progressive movement from the bottom up. So anybody who's watching this, who has lost hope, who feels defeated, who feels like that nothing that they do is ever going to amount to anything. No, that's not true. Look at these small victories and realize that at the local level, you can make a difference. You can fight back. And groups like the Democratic Socialists of America and other small progressive groups, they are showing you how. Let's get out there and let's fight. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.